The sky burns crimson. The air crackles with chaos. The end is no longer near, it's here. The meteor roars closer, the tornadoes dance across the wasteland, and the last great ice age is whispering your name. Humanity's clock has run out. So, what do you do when there's nowhere left to run and nothing left to save? You live one last time. The world is your open road now. Every abandoned highway, every silent street, every forgotten garage hides a masterpiece of steel and soul. And for these final moments, you can drive anything. From the thunder of Detroit's classic muscle to the untamed roar of American off-road legends, this is your final ride into the apocalypse. Feel that engine come alive beneath you and let the road be your final symphony. Because when the end of days is calling, there's only one thing left to do. Drive like it's your last. Let's fire up the engines and dive right into it. This is the ultimate countdown of American legends you must drive before the world ends. Let's get into the video. The Ford Mustang. When it first hit the streets in 1965, it didn't just roll off the assembly line. It rewrote what a car could mean to everyday Americans. It was fast, fearless, and most importantly, within reach. Suddenly, power and speed weren't reserved for racers or the rich. Anyone could slide behind the wheel and feel that pulse of freedom. Under its hood, the first generation offered a choice: the smooth hum of an inline-six or the raw growl of a V8 pushing up to 217 horsepower. But the Mustang's true magic wasn't just in numbers. It was in its stance, that long hood, short rear deck, and unmistakable presence. A design so bold, it became an instant icon. Nearly 6 decades later, the Mustang still carries that same spirit, a reminder of when America fell in love with the open road. The bond between cars and cinema has always been more than coincidence. It's a shared heartbeat. Both tell stories of rebellion, freedom, and the thrill of defying limits. Among the legends born from that union stands one unforgettable machine, the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Its moment of glory came not from a racetrack, but from the silver screen in 1977, when Burt Reynolds, with his trademark grin and cowboy hat, roared onto the scene in Smokey and the Bandit. Director Hal Needham had spotted an advertisement for the Firebird Trans Am and instantly knew this wasn't just a car, it was a character. It had attitude, presence, and that untamed energy only a true American icon could carry. This Firebird came from the car's second generation, built between 1970 and 1981. The Trans Am stood out as the wild child of the family. Its upgraded suspension, extra horsepower, and bold styling turned every stretch of road into a stage. It wasn't just the Bandit who stole the spotlight. It was the Firebird, black and gold, screaming down highways like it owned the horizon. A car that didn't just play a role in a movie, it became a piece of cinematic history. There was a time when the open road echoed with authority, not from the roar of exotic engines or the flash of chrome, but from the steady, unmistakable hum of the Ford Crown Victoria. Born in the early 90s and standing proud for 2 full decades, this full-size sedan wasn't designed to turn heads, it was built to command respect. Through the years, it became more than just a car. It became an emblem of order, a familiar silhouette in the rearview mirror that made every driver instinctively ease off the gas. From city streets to desert highways, the Crown Vic served as the trusted partner of law enforcement across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. For nearly 20 years, its blue and red lights painted the night skies. Its sirens became part of the soundtrack of American life. Officers relied on it not for luxury or flair, but for something rarer: endurance, dependability, and the quiet strength of a machine that never quit. Yet beyond the badge and uniform, the Crown Victoria held another legacy. It was among the last of its kind, a true body-on-frame sedan, built the old-fashioned way, sturdy and unapologetically American. When production finally stopped, it marked the end of an era, the closing chapter of a design philosophy that valued resilience over refinement. Today, the Ford Crown Victoria lives on in stories, in old highway footage, and in the memories of those who knew what it meant to drive or be chased by the last great American sedan that carried both authority and soul. In the quiet years after the world's greatest war, America began to dream again. Soldiers returned home. Factories that once built machines of battle turned their hands toward building machines of freedom. And out of this transformation rolled a vehicle that would redefine what it meant to drive the Willys Jeep CJ. They called it the Universal Jeep, and it truly was. For the first time, ordinary people, not just farmers or soldiers, could command a machine built to conquer the unbeaten path. Until then, four-wheel drive was something reserved for rugged duty, not daily life. But when the CJ arrived, it invited everyone to taste adventure, to go beyond paved roads, to discover what lay beyond the horizon. This little Jeep did more than move people, it moved an entire industry. It sparked a revolution that birthed the modern SUV, reshaping America's love affair with the open road. Its legacy didn't stop at the nation's borders either. The Willys lit a fire that spread across continents, inspiring legends like the Toyota Land Cruiser, the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, the Land Rover Defender, and the Suzuki Jimny. Every one of them owes its existence to that humble post-war pioneer, the Willys Jeep CJ, the vehicle that turned necessity into freedom and forever changed how the world drives. In the early 80s, when stainless steel still gleamed like the future itself, a car rolled out that would become a symbol of cinematic immortality, the DMC DeLorean. With its sharp, angular lines and those unmistakable gull-wing doors, it looked less like a car and more like something designed to outrun time itself. Born in 1981 under the vision of John DeLorean, the DMC-11, as it was known internally, was bold, rebellious, and unapologetically different. Around 9,000 of these machines ever saw the light of day before the dream came crashing down just 2 years later. Yet, that short life was enough to make it eternal. Beneath its brushed silver skin sat a 2.85-liter V6 engine, producing a modest 130 horsepower. It wasn't built to conquer racetracks, but it carried something far greater imagination. Drivers could choose between a 5-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic, though for most of us, the only gear that mattered was the one that hit 88 miles per hour. Because at that speed, according to the movies, something magical happened. The world blurred, the past and future collided, and time itself bowed to the DeLorean. Ironically, the car wasn't even American-made, yet its soul, its story, was undeniably American. A tale of ambition, innovation, and the kind of dream that refuses to fade, no matter how many years pass. Thanks to Back to the Future, the DeLorean didn't just drive, it transcended, forever frozen in the golden light of movie history. In the twilight of the world, when the horizon burns and silence hums louder than thunder, there's one car that still dares to roar back: the Callaway Sledgehammer. Born from the bones of a fourth-generation Corvette, it wasn't just built, it was forged by the visionaries at Callaway Cars, a machine that refused to obey limits. What began as a simple twin-turbo Corvette became something far more unholy: a 5.7-liter, twin-turbocharged beast that could summon nearly 900 horses and tear through the air with raw, relentless fury. Back in October 1988, long before the sky ever threatened to fall, a man named John Lingenfelter took the wheel. The world watched as the Sledgehammer screamed across the asphalt, reaching a speed of 275 miles per hour. Not in a lab, not in theory, but on a real stretch of earth. Even now, imagining that moment feels like rebellion. If the end of days ever comes, and the road is calling one last time, there's no finer chariot to meet the sunset than the Callaway Sledgehammer, America's final thunderclap before the silence. There's a certain magic in names that echo through time, and Ford GT is one of them. Decades ago, before the world was obsessed with hybrids and touchscreens, Ford built a machine that shook the very foundations of motorsport. The GT40 wasn't just a car. It was a statement of defiance, born from Ford's determination to beat Ferrari at its own game. And in 1966, under the blazing sun of Le Mans, it did the impossible. The Blue Oval crossed the finish line in a breathtaking 1-2-3 victory, etching its name forever into racing history. Years later, the story was reborn not just in Hollywood, but in steel and carbon fiber. The modern Ford GT first appeared as a concept in 2002, a love letter to its ancestor. By 2005, it roared into life, and just over 4,000 examples were crafted between 2005 and 2006. Every curve, every vent, every bolt whispered of heritage, a perfect blend of nostalgia and modern engineering. Under its sleek body lived a 5.4-liter supercharged V8, a heart that thundered with 550 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. It wasn't just speed, it was soul, a reminder that some legends never fade, they evolve. Then, in 2017, the legend returned once more. Sharper, lighter, and more aerodynamic, the new GT carried the spirit of the original into a new age. This time, its heartbeat came from a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. Smaller, yes, but just as fierce. By the time its production ended in 2022, the Ford GT had done something remarkable. It bridged generations, proving that even in a world racing toward the future, true legends never run out of road. If the first-generation Mustang defined what it meant to be an American legend, then the Dodge Challenger Hellcat carried that torch into the modern era, louder, meaner, and unapologetically wild. When it roared onto the scene in 2015, the Hellcat wasn't just another car. It was a statement, a beast in a world obsessed with efficiency and silence. Its design was a love letter to the golden age of muscle, but under the hood, it was pure 21st century chaos, raw, untamed, and built to intimidate. The Challenger never tried to hide what it was. It didn't whisper, it thundered. It came with 2 keys, and only one of them unleashed its full fury. 707 horses waiting to break free. Owners knew that second key wasn't just a piece of metal. It was a dare. And just when the world thought the Hellcat couldn't get any more extreme, Dodge proved otherwise. In 2018, and again in 2023, came the Demon, a drag strip monster that made even seasoned drivers' hands shake on the wheel. The Challenger Hellcat story ended when production stopped in 2023, but its spirit refuses to fade. It remains a symbol of an era when cars weren't just built to move, they were built to make your heart race. There was a time in the early 2000s when Chrysler dared to be different. The world was filled with sleek sedans and predictable hatchbacks, yet out rolled something that looked straight out of a 1,940 seconds time capsule, the PT Cruiser. Some people tilted their heads in confusion. Others fell in love instantly. It was quirky, bold, and unapologetically strange, a car that refused to blend in. Between 2001 and 2010, the PT Cruiser divided opinions like few cars ever had. It wasn't the kind of car that chased admiration, it invited conversation. To some, it was a design misstep. To others, it was a nostalgic tribute to America's golden age of motoring. Either way, it became an unexpected cult favorite, a rolling reminder that character matters more than conformity. Then, in 2003, Chrysler decided to give their oddball creation a rebellious streak. Enter the PT Cruiser GT, the same eccentric soul, now with a turbocharged heart. Beneath its hood was a 2.4-liter inline-4 engine, breathing fire through a turbo and pushing out over 200 horsepower. It growled louder, gripped harder, and finally matched its attitude with performance. The GT wasn't just faster, it looked the part too. Subtle body tweaks, sportier touches, and a more purposeful stance gave it presence. It wasn't perfect, but it had personality, something few cars could claim. By 2007, the GT quietly left the stage, and 3 years later, the PT Cruiser itself bowed out. Yet even now, its spirit lingers, part punchline, part legend, forever the misfit that dared to be remembered. There's something almost magical about the pink Cadillac, a car that grew beyond metal and chrome to become a living symbol of the American dream. It wasn't just transportation, it was aspiration on wheels, a gleaming vision of freedom and fame that rolled straight out of mid-century America. Ironically, Cadillac never actually made a factory pink model. Yet somehow, the idea of a pink Cadillac took on a life of its own, whispered through pop songs, flashing across movie screens, and shimmering in the collective imagination of a nation chasing glamour. For most people, two names instantly surface when they hear it: Mary Kay and Elvis Presley. Mary Kay Ash, the visionary behind her cosmetics empire, turned the pink Cadillac into a moving trophy of success, a reward for those who dreamed big and sold bigger. Those pastel cars became more than perks. They were rolling affirmations of ambition, proof that drive and determination could color your world any way you wanted. And then there was Elvis. The king of rock and roll didn't just sing about dreams, he drove them. In the mid-50s, he bought his first pink and white Fleetwood 60 Special, a fifth-generation beauty that matched his flair for showmanship. When that car tragically burned down in 1955, he didn't hesitate. Elvis bought another pink with a black roof, later changed to white, a car that still gleams proudly at Graceland, a time capsule of his legend. The pink Cadillac remains more than just a car. It's a story of desire and reinvention, proof that sometimes the dreams we chase are the ones we end up driving. And just like that, the engines go quiet. The roads that once roared with life now rest beneath a dying sun. But if you listen closely, you can still hear them. The heartbeat of machines that defined generations. Built not just with metal, but with spirit. These weren't just cars, they were companions. Dreams forged in steel. Symbols of freedom in a world that refused to stop moving. So when the world ends, don't hide from it. Drive into it. Feel the road one last time beneath your hands. And remember, every revolution of those wheels was a heartbeat of human history. The apocalypse may claim the earth, but it can never claim the feeling of the open road. This isn't goodbye. It's just the last great drive.